Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and folk of all ages, you know what time it is. It is December the 1st, and it is time to go over the holidays, holy days, and days of remembrance of our people. And for this month, we've got two amazing holidays. First up, on December 9th, as always, we have a day of remembrance. And this month, it's for Egill, Skallagrimsson. He is an amazingly interesting historical figure of our faith and of our folk. And if you're curious, we're going to be going through every single week of this month on Victory Never Sleeps and going through his saga, Egill's saga. So, on Wednesday nights, come back to the channel. It's going to be awesome. We follow this up with the Yuletide season. Of course, Yule doesn't last just a day. It's 12 days long, starting on Mother's Night on December 20th, going all the way to the end of the month, December 31st. We observe it on the 21st because that's the third Saturday of the month. Makes it easy for people to get together at the Hofs. But of course, the holiday is the holiday, 12 days of Yule. Let's get into it, learn a little bit about these days, and do our thing. Alrighty then. Egill Skallagrimsson's Day of Remembrance again is December 9th. He was born in 904 and passed away in 995. Of course, Common Era. Egill Skallagrimsson, born 904 Common Era, was an Icelandic warrior, poet, farmer, and rune master. His parents were Skallagrimr Kverdulfsson and Bera Ingvarsdóttir. Skallagrimr was a renowned and respected chieftain back in Norway, but migrated to Iceland with his wife and 4 children so that he could be free from the influence of King Harald Fairhair. Egill's childhood was an extraordinary one. He composed his first poem at the age of 3 and took revenge on another boy for cheating in a game at the age of 7. His skills as both a skald and berserker showed early on in life and would be carried with him for the rest of his days. Here I am at the hearth of my host Ingvar, the generous who grants gold to heroic men. 3-handed fosterer, you'll find no 3-year babe among bards more brilliant than me. He was also a master of the runes. His most famous tale of rune magic involves healing a deathly sick woman. A local landowner had attempted to cast a love spell with runes carved into a bone, which was placed under her pillow, but had mistakenly cast a spell of illness on the woman instead. Egill burned the illness runes and carved a healing spell instead. The woman's recovery was swift. Upon healing the sick woman, he recited a poem and famously said, "Runes none should grave ever, who knows not to read them." Later in life, Egill killed a retainer of King Eric Bloodaxe and Queen Gunhildr, starting a blood feud that would last for the rest of their lives. Queen Gunhildr sent her 2 brothers to take vengeance on Egill, but they were quickly sent to join their ancestors in Hel's Hall. Once Eric Bloodaxe became king of Norway soon after, he declared Egill an outlaw and sent a company of men after him. They too were killed in their attempt to subdue the war poets. Before finally leaving Norway, Egill killed King Eric's son, Rognvelder, and placed the horse's head on a kneading pole, saying, "Here I set up a neat pole, and declared this neat against King Eric and Queen Gunhildr. I declare this neat at the land spirits there, and the land itself, so that all will fare astray, not to hold nor find their places, not until they wreck King Egill and Gunhildr from the land. After Eric and Gunhildr found themselves ruling the kingdom of Northumbria in England, Egill soon found himself shipwrecked in their new realm. Egill went to the home of his friend Erlenbjorn, who advised him to offer his head to King Eric in hopes that he would spare his life. Erlenbjorn made a case for Egill, while Egill himself composed a short poem for the king. Eric and Gunhildr were not swayed by this, and told Egill that his offences against them were too great to be forgiven. His execution was ordered to take place the following morning. Over what was supposed to be his last night on this side of the Vale, Egill composed a 20-stanza poem in honor of King Eric. When morning came, Egill recited the poem for the king, who was so impressed that he let Egill live. After fighting for the Saxon king Athelstan, the famous Battle of Brunanburh, Egill was rewarded 2 chests of silver for his service, and returned to his farm in Iceland. He remained prominent in local politics, as he had truly become a legend amongst his folk. He lived to the age of 90, and passed beyond the veil just before Iceland began converting to Christianity. He was survived by 5 children, all of which he had with his wife Asgerthr, Bjorn's daughter. What can we learn from this story? Egill represents the true duality of human nature. Egill's saga is one of war and one of love. We watch the pagan chief battle his way across all of northern Europe, and we watch him immortalize his love of his friends and family through masterful poems. His loyalty to those who were important to him was tantamount to the man he became. Egill Skallagrimsson lived a legendary life of adventure and poetry, of love and war. His might and skill as a warrior helped win the most famous battle in Anglo-Saxon history, and his prowess in poetry was the height of a long tradition of Nordic verse. His legacy has lasted over 1,000 years, and will last thousands more. Hail, Egill Skallagrimsson. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the Yuletide season. Again, it falls the 20th through the 31st of December, and we are going to observe it this year. It falls on the 21st. Yuletide is the 12-day period in December in which we hold our biggest celebrations. During the Yuletide, we celebrate our families and our tribes and the bonds that hold us strong. We celebrate our ancestors. We celebrate our gods and the wild hunts. We celebrate the bright fires of the hearth that keeps us warm. And we celebrate the rebirth of the sun. We have made it halfway through the harshest time of the year. The sun begins to stay in the sky a little longer each day, moving us closer and closer to the fruitful and warm summer. We celebrate by gathering together to feast and sing songs. We put up our Yule trees and our wreaths. We bake cookies and give presents. We build strong bonds and traditions that our children remember and pass on. It is a joyous time of the year. We begin the Yuletide on the 20th December, called Mother's Night. During Mother's Night, we celebrate our ancient mothers, the Disir, who kept the hearth flames burning bright. One way to celebrate this is to extinguish all of the lights in the house. Light a candle to represent the hearth flame. And if you have children, give them pots and pans. Starting at the central part of your home or the hearth, usually the kitchen and the stove, but can be a literal hearth if you have a fireplace. Let the children chase the ill wights, or the bad energy, from each room by running through the house and banging the pots and pans. As you go through each room, light a waiting candle. You are bringing the light of the hearth, of the goddess Frigga, of the Disir, into each room to bless it. You could say something simple with each candle you light, like, the goddess Frigga, bring love and light into this room. Or the Disir, bless this home and all who live within it. Yuletide ends on December 31st, a time when people can make oaths for themselves for the coming year. An AFA tradition started by our esteemed founder Stephen McNallen focuses on celebrating 12 Asatru virtues: industriousness, justice, courage, generosity, hospitality, moderation, community, individuality, truth, steadfastness, loyalty, and wisdom. Each night we light a candle in honor of each of these virtues. Stephen McNallen has videos for each of these days on our YouTube channel, and we recommend that everyone take some time to watch them. Alright, everybody. We thank you so much for joining us for this recap of the holidays for December. We thank you so much for joining us for this entire year. 2024 has been amazing. And 2025, never going to be one better. Look forward to this next year. Look forward to these videos. Because I'll tell you, we're doing a little finagling, moving a few of the days of remembrance around to better fit, be a bit more apropos to the dates that were significant for the heroes' lives. And, well, it's going to be a fun time. I also want to remind you, we currently have calendars for sale for 2025 in the Runestone store. Make sure to have a link in the description. So go on over, get those. When you get that in the mail, you'll get a sneak peek of the new days of remembrance, what days they fall on for next year. And I'll make sure to have a calendar updated on the main site come the first of the year. So thank you so much, everybody. Again, I appreciate all of you, and we're thankful for having you in our lives, having you in our church, and having you by our side as we worship the gods. And to that end, hail the gods, hail the folk, hail Egill, and hail the AFA. Hail victory, everybody. Good night. Have a great one.